It is not a multi-level marketing scheme, but it definitely has a lot of similarities.
Here's how I spend my $148,000 salary.
If everybody was a entrepreneur, who would work at your doctor's office? Hi, my name is Jack. I used to be a financial investor, and now I'm what you would call chronically online, but I prefer to say in touch with the kids. I spend a lot of time on TikTok, and so my finance feed is just full of terrible investing, side hustles, and all sorts of personal finance advice. So I'm going to take a few TikToks today, give you the what's for, what's good, what's bad, and let's jump right into it. As a disclaimer, none of this is financial advice. Please speak to a professional that you trust if you want financial advice on the kind of investments to pick, or someone that you trust personally. Don't take advice from me. This is for education purposes only. So let's jump on into it.
I became a millionaire at 27, and this is 3 pieces of advice I wish I knew before I got started. Number 1, fuck the parties, the alcohol, and the distractions. Focus on building your mind, your body, and your bank account, and remember that the parties will always be there.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with this to a certain extent. One thing that I would recommend, though, is that college parties are actually a really good way to get in touch with people that you're going to work with in the future. See, the thing is, say you're in business school or something and you go to the bar with individuals. I had a lot of friends that I met in business school that I now am professionally associated with, or was professionally associated with when I was working. So it can be a bit of a wash, and it is expensive, and I wouldn't recommend doing it often, but definitely nobody wants to be associated with the guy who just sits in his room all day and is, well, I gotta work on my bank account and I gotta work on my mind and my body. You can do all of those things and still have fun. It's not a one or the other kind of thing.
Number 2, it's okay to want the watches, the cars, and the designer shit. There's a lot of people these days that are saying that that's bad, and that's not the case. However, you'll come to realize that those things are not the end goal. The end goal is building something that's greater than yourself.
That is a genuinely good piece of advice, again, beside maybe the last part there. You don't have to worry about building something that's bigger than yourself, but yeah, watches, cars, luxury items, that's okay to want those things, but those are the kind of things that you buy once you have yourself in order, once you don't have any consumer debt, once you own a home. You know, from at least from what Dave Ramsey has said, you know, the average millionaire does not buy their first car until they have $1 million net worth. So that's something to keep in mind. And there's lots of ways that you can experience these cool things as well without having to spend a ton of money. You know, if you want a small sports car, you can go buy a small used sports car if you want something to drive in the summer, as long as you can afford the additional insurance and maintenance and stuff. If you want a nice watch, you don't have to go spend $45,000 on a Rolex. There's a ton of really, really nice watches you can get for under $1,000 up to $5,000, depending on your net worth. Lots of great options out there for luxury goods that don't cost luxury good prices. You just have to know where to look. One of the big things that I have heard from people who own supercars and high-end sports cars, the only people who look at your sports car, you're never going to get girls with it. It's all these dudes that come up to you at the gas station. And I can attest to that because I'm sometimes one of those dudes that goes up to people with cool cars at the gas station because I like cars.
And number 3, failure is only temporary defeat. You will fail many times before you succeed, but remember that with every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent success.
That is a genuinely good piece of advice right there. One of the big things I think that a lot of people think, especially if you are a young person trying to navigate the world with, like, you know, TikTok, Instagram, we see all of these people who, I was a millionaire at 19 by doing this. I bought my first Lamborghini at 21 by doing that. It's okay to fail. And I mean, everybody fails, right? And the people who publicize their failures are the ones that I respect the most. Not everybody is going to nail it first try. So yeah, it is more than okay to fail as long as you take a lesson from it. And that's something that you should always keep in mind.
Don't be a loner, be an owner. When you put money in.
So this TikTok is one from Dave Ramsey. I like Dave Ramsey generally. I don't think his investing advice is the best. I don't think that mutual funds are great, and I don't particularly enjoy that he has a list of SmartVestor pros, he calls them, that he recommends. Now, I understand why he does it. Part of it is that he probably gets a referral commission from it, and that the people he's trying to get invest feel like they can trust the person since they're vetted by Dave Ramsey, which is good. There's a lot of scumbags in the investment world, but you know, his investment advice, mutual funds are not always the best investment depending on the person. And as always, if you could like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy the content that I'm putting out. I love doing this. I like being able to break down longer form content versus doing the short form stuff. So thank you so much. Let's get back into the video.
In a bank, you're loaning them your money and they're paying you interest, not much, but they're paying you interest.
Yep, that's exactly it. If you have a savings account or a GIC with a bank, what they're doing is they're then taking that money, they're going to loan it out to other people, generate interest. So, mortgage rates say 4.5%. You may have a 5-year GIC at 3.5%. So they're keeping that 1% as part of their profit, paying you 3.5% for giving the money that they can lend out. That's how fractional reserve banking works. Generally, the more liquid the investment is, the less interest that you're paid, since the bank can't guarantee that that money is going to be there to loan out. So they have to keep a bigger chunk of it available for you.
When you put money into an investment, you're an owner.
Yeah.
So if you want to make money, you need to be an owner, not a loaner.
Yes, he is correct, and I think the way he's stating it is more as an inspirational thing than genuine financial advising. See, the thing is, not necessarily everything you invest in, you are an owner. Like, say you buy an ETF, you are technically an owner of the underlying securities, but really what you own is the ETF that then uses your money to go and buy the securities underneath. Now, so like I say, you are technically an owner, but in that case, you're not really. You're buying a bigger batch. But saying you need to be an owner, not a loaner, makes a nice thing for the radio, so I understand where he's coming from.
There's never any money with putting your money in a bank.
Yes, that is true. You will never make a ton of money putting money in the bank. The problem is that if you put money in the bank, you're never going to make more than inflation. So even right now, GIC rates are 4.5%, 5%. Inflation is 6%, so that means that you're still losing 1% of the purchasing power on the cash that you have there. Banks will never pay you more than inflation. But the trade-off is liquidity. So if you want to access that cash, you can go in and get it at any time, which is even nicer. Oh, this is one of those ones. I have been on an absolute tear recently with calling out affiliate marketers and their awful advice, so to speak. The problem is that all of these people that I see on TikTok, they all sell a course. So when they sell a course, either they are an affiliate of another marketing firm, it's basically a multi-level marketing scheme or network marketing or ghost commerce, whatever they want to call it. It's all the same. Or they created a small business and then that dried up somehow, and now they're selling a course again to do it. So they try to convince you that you need to not worry about going to school, that you should buy courses or get professional advice, learn on the streets. But statistically, for high-paying careers, the vast majority of individuals didn't only go to university, they went to high-end schools, elite schools as well. So the path to success is to go to school. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend going and taking, underwater basket weaving, that meme. But, if you want to have a good career, you could become an accountant, you could become a lawyer, you could become, an airline pilot. You have to go to school to do that. There's tons of great careers out there, and the vast majority of them require a university or college education of some sort. Now, the best way to not go to school and make a good career is to get into trades, but the trade-off with that is that it is a lot harder on your body, the working conditions aren't quite as good, and it is quite competitive depending on the trade that you're getting into. There is a lot of demand, but still, it's a little bit of a weird market. Also, what a horrifically obnoxious scream.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing these course people can teach you that you don't know already. Please, just don't do it. So I've been seeing Joel Kaplan on my For You page a little bit, and I haven't really figured out exactly what his shtick is. He gives me weird vibes, but I don't know exactly why. It seems like he doesn't sell a course. Everything he knows is on YouTube for free. I don't have 400 hours to drop into some affiliate marketing course I don't care about, so I'm not going to review it, but I don't know, there's just something about him that just doesn't quite feel right to me.
This is the smartest path to 10K per month, even if you're a complete beginner. There's 7...
I hate this pitch, though. To make $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year as an individual, that puts you like 2 standard deviations above the average income. Not that many people make $10,000 a month. It's something like 4.5%, I think, in Canada. So the way they pitch this, really, it makes me uncomfortable because it's promising unrealistic expectations for people. Unfortunately, the way averages work, the vast majority of you are going to be average. I'm probably going to be average. Your mom's probably going to be average if she isn't. Your dad's probably average. Your sister, your brother, they're all probably going to be average. And then there is outliers in there. And you can definitely become one of those outliers, but there's not a side hustle that's going to make you an outlier. Again, if you want to make a good income, your best bet is to go to school for an in-demand career and then just work your way through that.
Side hustles that I recommend for people to start if they want to start making money online in 2023.
And the making money online. Again, there's ways to make money online, but any of these ideas that these gurus will share with you are already so oversaturated. I was looking at multi-level marketing company Young Living, their Canadian essential oils company, and not that I'm comparing any of this to MLMs, because I know a lot of you get salty, not you people watching, but a lot of these guys get salty when you compare them to MLMs. 0.01% of people that were affiliates with Young Living made over, I think it was $17,000 a year, something like that. 85% of the people made zero earnings through their entire time as an affiliate of Young Living. And that's an actual like physical product at least. So it's very, very difficult to make money online. And you can, but again, the odds are against you. You can try, but nothing these guys will teach you for a fee is going to get you there.
Number 1, thumbnail design. There's a lot of people doing thumbnails, but most of them suck.
This is true, and you'll see my thumbnails are not very good because I barely know how to work Photoshop. This is a genuinely good one if you have some graphic design skills to jump into. Thumbnail design is in demand. It's starting to get saturated. Again, it's one of those ideas that people are really starting to catch on to, but even if you go on Fiverr or something, if you got some graphic design skills, that's a good little side hustle to get into for sure.
So there's a huge need in the marketplace right now for really good graphic designers to step in and make some side income. Number 2, short form content, but it's not what you think. There's thousands of editors now, and everyone has gotten hit with the same pitch for short form editing like Ramsey. However, there's very few people pitching short form support services, like creating the hooks, writing the scripts, and coming up with the idea.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things that there's not a lot of people doing those things, because if you have that ability to do that, why don't you just do it yourself? Why would you sell it to somebody else with an audience?
Yes. Number 3, you're gonna go to a liquor store, buy a bunch of alcohol, and sell it to underage children.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, that's some good advice right there. Please don't, Christ, don't do that. That's very illegal. But hey, you know what? Man's gotta make money, right?
Number 4, this teenager right here, 19 years old, made $100 in one weekend flipping couches. So find any item that you can buy at a lower rate and sell for more and flip it.
Yeah, again, I don't know if I would call this an online side hustle, but yeah, if you can find items on Facebook Marketplace or your local classified ads and flip them, definitely give it a shot. That said, there's a weirdly high number of people who get salty about that kind of thing, and they may message you on Facebook if they catch you doing it. But yeah, hey, give it a shot. That's nothing wrong with that. Cars are another one as well that you can definitely, if you know what you're looking for, you can get some really good deals. My dad is great at it. He is so good at finding good quality cars that just need a little bit of work and then selling them again for a profit once he's enjoyed them for a little bit. That's a good one too, but you gotta have some mechanical skill and the knowledge there. He's lucky he's got a shop with the lift and everything, so he can do all the work himself. So I just included this one because I just liked the message. Again, a little bit of a reality check for everybody here. Not everybody has $10 million in the bank. The vast majority of people don't. As you can see, these debt numbers make complete sense to me. I know there's some people who would argue it. I would assume this includes mortgages and student loan debt as well. So this is great. It's not a problem to have debt. It's a problem to have debt that hinders your ability to do other things. Credit card debt, unsecured line of credit debt, those are bad debts. But having a house, having student loans that aren't excessive, having a small car loan as long as it's reasonable, those aren't debts that you should be ashamed of or should feel bad about. But definitely pay them off as fast as you can. And yeah, make sure you're investing money as well, not just taking on debt.
Here's how I spend my $148,000 salary as a 23-year-old software engineer living in San Francisco.
So again, this is one of those ones that's a little bit unrealistic as far as the expectations of it. Living in San Francisco, making that much money as a 23-year-old. But what I enjoyed about this video was that it actually was honest and it gave a clear breakdown of everything. So let's run through it here.
This month, I brought in $12,333 of pre-tax income.
That checks out for making $132,000 a year. That makes sense.
But because I live in California, 33.49% of that, or $4,130, went to tax.
Yeah, that's, again, completely standard. That's still fairly cheap. In Canada, your tax rate would be a little bit higher than that. The things that taxes support, I support. So, I mean, I want to see healthcare for everybody. I would like to see more support for individuals who are struggling. I would like to see better use of those funds as well, more investment in public housing. I have no problem paying taxes, and this is not that conservative. I wouldn't pay taxes. I would not mind paying taxes. It was used right. I would like to see it used better, but I have zero problem paying taxes.
After health insurance and 401k contributions, I brought home $7,597.75.
So that would mean that he roughly is contributing about $2,000 between health insurance and 401k. So we don't know how much he's putting into his 401k. If it's a standard company match, it's probably something around 6% if I had to work the numbers back, but I'm not going to. It doesn't matter that much. Yeah, if you have a retirement plan through work, especially to have if it has a match, jump into that as soon as you can and max it out for the maximum amount of match. When I was working at the bank, we had a bank share buying program, so I could put up to 6% in per year, and I would get them to add 3% to it. So even though it's only like $100 and some off my paycheck, they're putting in cash. And then after a certain amount of time, I get access to their part. And since mine was in a non-registered investment account, I could take it out at any time and sell those shares. So it's fantastic. It's quite literally free money. Always jump into work retirement programs. You will not regret it. The best part is that your investments don't even have to do that good if there's a match, because that's your return. If you're putting in 6%, you're already getting a 3% match. That's 50% return on your investment right there, as long as you stay long enough to access it.
I spent $1,548 on living expenses, rent, utilities, and internet.
So if he's spending $1,500 on rent, utilities, and internet in San Francisco, I would have to assume that he is living with quite a few people, which, hey, more power to him. It doesn't bother me. But yeah, that's definitely not a realistic look at rent in that city. But again, sometimes these are sacrifices people make to be able to have more money to do things with, which that I commend. If you can stand living with a bunch of roommates in a place to save money on rent, awesome.
I spent $518 on what I would consider to be fun. This is because I took a trip to Atlanta to visit some friends.
That's awesome. I like seeing domestic and realistic travel. That makes me happy. Again, you see a lot of this backpacking for 6 months in wherever, or traveling to Europe and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't have to be. A trip for the weekend can be just to a city a couple hours over, and that is more than enough of a vacation for a lot of people.
I spent $300 on groceries, and this was one big Costco run that I got the entire month's food.
All I can say there is, Buddy must not eat very many vegetables if he's only going to the grocery store once a month.
I spent $254 eating out.
That's fine. I have no problem with that. Some people would say that you shouldn't spend any money eating out. I like eating out, and a lot of people like not just the fact that the convenience of it, but just the actual action of going out, trying restaurants, going out with friends. It's a social activity for a lot of people. So for the amount of money that he makes, $254 is like nothing.
$298 went to health. This includes athletic greens, vitamins.
That must be where he gets most of his vegetables from. I'm definitely not a health expert, but you should probably eat fresh vegetables in addition to things like athletic greens.
Lastly, I had another $300 or so of just miscellaneous expenses. This comes out to $3,239.36, which means that I saved $4,358, or roughly 57% of my take-home income.
Now, this is the part that I want you to very carefully watch, but don't think that you have to be anywhere near 57% of your income. 10% is more than enough as long as you're investing it. So if you're putting into ETFs, maxing out your retirement plans, that is more than enough, 10%, as long as you start early. Now, the later you start, the more you have to save. But yeah, 57%, that is like fat FIRE levels of savings for this guy, or FIRE level, financial independence, retire early. Basically saving as much money as possible when you're young to retire early. I'm assuming that's his plan by the way he's living his life, but yeah. Definitely doable, but don't think that 57% is anywhere near realistic for the vast majority of people.
This isn't meant to be a flex. It's mainly just to be transparent about finances. I think people should be more transparent in general.
Yeah, I agree completely with this guy here. Was it Baxate Carter? I don't even know how to say his name. But yeah, just the transparency is what I appreciate. It doesn't feel like a flex to me. He's just, the way he's speaking is not feeling like he's trying to make anyone feel bad about themselves. The thing is, you will always see the people who have good budgets and the people who make good money are the ones who are more willing to share. You see it a lot on Reddit. I know there's a ton of bias on the personal finance subs that you'll see the big income earners are the ones who ask questions and things like that. Yeah, I really love the transparency. I think if more people were just transparent about where their money went, it wouldn't be nearly as much of a taboo subject, and we would be a better society in general. I hate this. Why do I do this to myself? I put this together like 4 or 5 days ago, so I've completely forgot what TikToks I put in here. Society teaches us to look at money like this. 40 hours a week for $20 an hour at $800 a week. That's fine. There is nothing wrong with having a job. If everybody was a entrepreneur, if everybody did this and that, who would pump the gas? Who would clean the offices? Like, who would work at your doctor's office? There's nothing wrong with just having a job. It's great. I love it. Jobs are phenomenal. Just get a good job. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to look at money like this. Don't do that. If you wanted to really change how you look at money, look at the expenses compared to your hourly salary. So say that you like to get Starbucks every day and you make $15 an hour. Now, I don't care if you get Starbucks every day. That's not going to make an appreciable difference on your budget, to be honest with you. That's not where you're going to save money for retirement. But that's a whole nother conversation. If you want to look at it, you make $15 an hour and that Starbucks coffee is $5. Is that coffee worth like 10, 12 minutes of work for you? And if it is, then get it. And if it isn't, then don't. That's how I would recommend reframing money in your mind, is not so much how many sales it is or how many entrepreneurial things it is just effort. How much effort you have to put in to get the thing you're buying. If you want to reframe your thoughts about money. More affiliate marketers. Why do I do this to myself? The economy is crashing. Well, kind of, but like not. It's not a crash. It is a contraction, maybe into a recession, which is a completely normal cycle in the economy that just happens. You can't go up forever. It is what it is. Forbes announced that digital marketing is going to be one of the top paying jobs. Forbes is barely a business journal at this point. They're basically the business equivalent of the Daily Inquirer. Yeah. And again, 99% keep scrolling without asking me how. It's because she has a course to sell you. That's what she's talking about. Digital marketing is a great way to make money when you sell a course telling people how to do it. It's even better when you have a marketing company up here. So I'm going to make a shape here. Let me know if you guys can figure out what I'm getting at. Here's your company, your marketing company. Something like, say, Legendary Marketers is one that I see a lot. Here, you have your TikTok guru down here, and there's two ways for those TikTok gurus to make money. They can either start an affiliate marketing thing, make a blog, sell a product, yada, 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 whatever, or they can make a commission selling a course to you. See, the thing is that people are just like electricity. And I said this in a TikTok that I made the other day. They always take the path of least resistance. That's how we are. Biologically, that is how we are programmed. We always want to take the path of least resistance. So why would you go through all of the effort of finding a product, making an Amazon store, yada, 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 instead of just selling someone the course that you already bought to make your return? See, the other thing that bothers me is at the bottom of every single one of these people's websites that sells a course, it says, the vast majority of people who buy how-to information never make a single dollar. And that is true. If you just read the disclaimers, you would never buy these things. But this is exactly what they're taught to do. They're not taught to sell products, they're taught to sell the course. It is not a multi-level marketing scheme, but it definitely has a lot of similarities. And that was it. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope you appreciated this handful of TikToks and me talking through them. Let me know if there's any other videos you'd like to see me react to. There's a couple of YouTube videos I have in my mind I would like to do. Like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate watching. Catch you in the next one.